said, I'm into building, I like building things, I like seeing things from the bottom up, from the ground up, and the club could go out and buy a bunch of players, which is what most professional clubs do. I don't think financially at this stage, where our club's at, that was the right way to do things. Because each year you've still got to do it. So the players you buy and throw them out will go for money elsewhere, or they'll leave, or they want to do other things, and you're back at the same thing all the time. So you're continuing that process. So for us to be successful, we're going to have to build from the ground up. So we may struggle for a couple of years, as on the wins and loss column. But what we're going to do is put together a group of good young players that want to play for the club, which is a strange thing now in professional basketball. Most players don't, the jersey doesn't mean too much, it's more about what comes to hand. The thing we sell to the players is that you get it in the hand, we just get it later. So if the club becomes really successful and then you'll be the guys that can work. And just having a look in the room underneath there, it's really similar to what happens in Tasmania, where you get people in a community that are really passionate about it, and suddenly see all these good kids come through. It's like, oh, that was a good generation. Kids wonder what's happening there. And people rarely put it down to the people that are doing the work. Oh, you're just lucky, you had some big kids, blah, blah, blah. I noticed in one year in Whyalla, there was 8 girls in the state team. That means there must be someone here doing the work. And I think people undersell their value. People that coach at this level undersell their value. And we're probably some of the people that get the publicity. You guys are actually the people that mean the most. Because what you do will dictate to how far that kid gets when he's ready to make the jump. And coming through the institute as an institute coach, that was really evident. Kids that had come from good junior programs were so far advanced than those that had to struggle along by themselves. So never undersell your importance in the national scheme of basketball. You have a good person that understands what players need. I don't mean just what players need as far as the technical aspect, which is what you're probably here for. It's more of the inspiration and the understanding. Because remember, most elite kids aren't surrounded by other elite kids in a small environment. So they've got these other forces at work on them at school or at home that might be stopping them becoming elite. Now, not everyone can be elite, but everyone should aspire to. If you don't make it, you don't make it. But untapped potential is a really common thing through the world. And you're the people that can change it. Because you can inspire someone to actually say, oh, actually, I want to be more than this kid here who's saying, I need to go to the beach, I need to go to the pub, I need to do that. And he's got 50 of those kids talking to him, there's only one a year. You've got to work away to make sure, actually you just got to spend a bit more time working out, make sure your diet's good, do some weight, just make your strength work, take yourself off to the city, just like Rat paid for his 6 weeks in the States, he didn't get a handout from that. He actually paid for it. Sold his car, sold his house probably, and said, I don't care what's on the end of the 6 weeks, because I'll have some experience, I'll have some knowledge. I guess the next thing is that you guys have to get the experience and knowledge for yourself to be able to hand it on down the line. And that's what you're doing here on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So I know I've spoken a lot about that. What I want to open up to really is about specific things that you want us to tell you in the next 30 minutes, really. So what are some things that you either struggle with in the club, or maybe just something you might have seen at the game last night? Remember, X's and O's aren't the most important thing in basketball. Everyone can do that. It's the emphasis and the teaching. Basketball is the most over-coached sport in the world, and the most under-taught sport in the world. And the worst thing for basketball coaches is the internet and videos. Because everyone wants to do everything that some guy in the USA or Russia. Don't worry about the X and O's. Teach really well. Teach basketball skills, fundamental skills, and teach understanding the game. If you can do those things, it doesn't matter who you coach, what level you coach at, the kids are going to get really good coaching. So I'll start off. My wife coaches. She took on the under 10 bottom age, that's the 4th team of under 10s at a small club in Canberra before we left. No kids had played. They're playing under 12, but they were under 10, so the 4th team. And all she talked about was dribble with your head up, pass the ball to someone that's open. And that's all she coached the first year. And they went from getting beaten by 60 the first couple of weeks to in the second competition, didn't get beat in the second season of the competition, never lost. Because they could advance the ball safely. And that's it. And did a bit of shooting on it. You've got to be able to put it in. Didn't coach anything else. They didn't have players and sideline players. Defensively, all she said was make sure you know who you are. That's it. There wasn't anything else. And just those couple of concepts, when you talk about young kids that don't know about the game, you try and coach them too much. Try and put too much in their head. Get good at dribbling, get good at passing, get good at shooting. Understand the concept of, that's my player, I've got to be responsible. And under 10s, that's what we want to coach. Now, if you've got a kid within your group, this is the difficulty in your environment, you'll have a kid that's just so much better than everyone else. You have a kid that's unfortunately so much worse than everyone else. So you end up coaching somewhere in the middle. So you don't extend the really good kid, and you don't give the young kid or the little kid or the kid that doesn't have any skill, enough skill to feel successful to want to keep playing the game. And that's where all those kids start dropping out. Kids want to learn and they want to be successful. So your job is to be able to push that kid on, lift that kid up, and still teach that kid. And it's harder here than, not here as in Whyalla, in this environment that is in the city, because the competition sorts itself out. Oh, this is Division 1 and they're all about the same, this is Division 2 and they're all about the same as Division 3.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Exactly that. We have a lot of kids that are really good, but in the smaller community, only a small percentage of them are at elite level,
Yep.
but they're in that age level. And the better kids get pissed off because other kids aren't trying so hard. It's not just that, they don't have that same drive and motivation. What is your solution to that? Should you push them higher, make them play on the comfort zone?
I think, personally, I think you should make kids find their level. Age, if you chronologic age is actually a detractor from that. It should also be about physical age, because you get some kids that develop quicker, but they've got to play against each other. And other kids that don't develop, they've got to play against these rapid monsters. I just say, again, working for Penguin, what we do, when I went back there, we made some changes. One of them was to get rid of age groups and put them into primary and secondary, and then just let the levels sort themselves out. The other thing we did, a whole bunch at younger age groups, for the hour of the game time, we actually split it and said half hour of that is actually going to be a skill circuit. Then you play a half-hour game, of which you have a 2-minute warm-up and a 2-minute half-time. And in the warm-up we did layups, and every layup went in actually counted to the game score. So the kid that never got to score for a whole season, at the end of the season said, oh, I'll play this game, I can't play it, actually thought they were scoring points. So they went home all happy, I scored 4 points today. Okay, I was in the warm-up, but to them it doesn't matter. They've got to feel like they're being successful and they get better.
What age group are you talking about?
That was the primary school competition. And
that's 11, 12-year-olds, so under 14 kids.
primary school in Tassie finished in year 6, so yeah, but within that, the best of those kids actually flipped up and played. The problem we have is some parents say, why is Johnny playing up there because he's as good as such and such, and then you just got to deal with that. And the other thing, at half time we shot free throws. So same thing, they made their free throw, the team score ticked over. So you might have a kid that in a regular season will score no points, but he's scoring like 6 a game and feeling really good about it. This basketball's a great sport, I can score at this, I can do something. So you just got to be a little inventive about the way you do things. Don't just take the rule book and think, this is how the game must be done. And you need collaboration between clubs. Is the other thing. And I don't know whether you've got I see the pubs scattered around the wall. They're all right, are they? Yeah.
We'll work on that.
But it's got to be a group effort to say what's best for players. Yeah, and coaches all have egos. Everyone has it, but coaches have big egos, and it starts to become about us. You've got to remove your coach's ego and say we're actually in the service industry, and we're trying to service these players coming through the door. And how can we get them to feel good about themselves and to improve?